support do you need on maternity leave as an expecting business owning mom? I am really reluctant to share that it took me about 9 months with my first son, Frank, to really accept support, to really lean into and really systematize the asking for help muscle. And building that has been one of the more confronting things that I have personally experienced as a mom and as a business owner, because we meaning moms, and even, women at large, we are just really conditioned to expect a lot of ourselves and to really try to take every single thing on without asking for a lot of help. And that was something that both, me and my husband, Steve, we both really kind of struggled with in early parenthood. We didn't know who to ask for help. We didn't know how to ask for help. We felt like, we should just kind of put our heads down and, go through every single barrier and every single thing that came up inside of parenthood and kind of early motherhood and fatherhood and all the things. And it was really challenging. It was something that I felt like we shouldered for perhaps a little bit too long, and we needed to kind of like work our way out of that habit pretty significantly. So something that I encourage all of my expecting moms to do is to just consider what kind of support you may need in the business and in the home. Because if we take an assessment, and this is something I do with all of our clients in Master Maternity Leave, is we take an assessment of our time and we say, you know what, listen, if we're a business owning woman and we have X amount of available time in the day, which is the same as everybody else, then if we're spending some of it doing personal tasks, if we're spending some of it doing business tasks, it kind of all just gets lumped into the same, available amount of time. And I think a lot of us try to say, well, we only have 40 hours a week to work, but that's not actually true. At least it wasn't for me when I was preparing for maternity leave with my first son. I remember doing an audit after he had been born because I was like, why do I feel so crazy? Why does the business feel like it's stuck in mud? And I realized that I was working about 80 hours a week on the business. My husband was in the military at the time, and it was just true that he was away a lot, and I was just able to work. I was excited to work. I liked doing it. I loved supporting our clients. And so the business was growing at the rate that I was adding my time in. And then it all of a sudden just got drastically cut, right, in more than half. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, well, now that I see it in black and white, what support do I need? And the very first thing I turned to was administrative, right? So I needed somebody to be in a position. I didn't previously feel overwhelmed by the administrative load in the business because I was very involved, and I was in a position where I could schedule with clients and I could get back and forth on email. And I had somebody step in really meaningfully to be able to support me in that. So that was number one. Second was a project manager. Now, project management is kind of slippery because there's so much that goes into the planning and the timing and the communication and the meeting schedule and the scoping and all of that stuff. But if you have somebody who perhaps isn't dedicated to any of the deliverables in the project, but is just really focused on keeping things on time and on budget, and everybody understands what they need to be doing, that is a gift, an absolute gift. Because what you don't have happen, especially in some of those early postpartum days, is you don't get hit with that like, oh crap moment that you forgot something, while you're in the shower, while you're feeding the baby. Having somebody in place to manage the administrative stuff and to manage your projects internally, meaning everybody just understands what's going on, that is super key. Bonus tip, and we talk about this inside of our course, is to have somebody who is really the only person that can get in touch with you from work. If you're planning a leave and you've got these supportive people, behind the scenes of your business, I really think it's huge to say, hey, listen, you can contact me for X, Y, and Z reasons. And that's pretty much it, right? So don't have everybody, with the ability to text you. Have the project manager or your right-hand person inside of the business, whomever you decide to have kind of that bat line like we talk about in the course. I think it's going to be hugely impactful, and it will be something that, in my opinion, will just kind of simplify the interaction between work and home while you are out on leave. So at home, let's talk about that, because we talked about the business, right? Administrative project management, super key. It's going to help you keep all the balls in the air. And even if you need to do a little bit of work on leave, if that's something that you choose to do, you can be in a position where it doesn't feel like you're kind of digging through 1,000 emails, or you're digging through a bunch of project management tasks that haven't been cleared, wondering what's going on here. So at home, something that I personally found really helpful helpful was meal prep. And that looked different for each of my leaves. So the first one, I did a lot of the meal prep. We didn't have anybody, we didn't have any kids at home. I was able to bake a bunch of things and make a bunch of stuff and freeze it for when we came home from the hospital. And we were able to, just have meals made for us. Now, going back, I would probably have made like double or triple the amount of food that I had made. For whatever reason, I was like, oh, we just need a few days of meals and then we'll get back into it. That was not true. I recommend doing 2 full weeks of meals. I think for any new parent coming home, especially if you're in a position where you need to check in on work or you need to do something over your leave, it's going to be really, really helpful to have those healthy meals prepared and that you can just pop into the oven and be able to do. So that for us looked a little bit like a preparatory effort on the first leave. On the second leave, we actually found a really, really great meal prep company that was nearby our house that prepared food that was really healthy and tasted really yummy. And we tried it out before we had our second son. And Frank, my older son, was loving the meals. And it was just really, really helpful for us. So I would say anything related to meals, absolutely outsource if you can. And the second is on house care and cleaning. Now, house care and cleaning to me, I see in the same bucket, but they're kind of 2 separate things. House care, right, is making sure that you have all of your maintenance and stuff scheduled. So for us, we have a whole house filter for our water. And something that we need to do is every 6 months, we have somebody come in and do the salt and do all of the maintenance and all that stuff. Now, that's critical because if I forget to do that in a postpartum frenzy, our water becomes less drinkable. And that is not cool for anybody living in the house, right? So schedule all of your maintenance out. I also recommend, and I did this in my early postpartum days with my son Frank, is get somebody to come and mow the lawn. Like, it sounds like such a simple thing. And my husband was mowing the lawn. I was actually mowing the lawn up to like 38 weeks pregnant when I was pregnant with my first son, Frank. And it took a lot of time to mow our lawn. And it took a lot of time to edge. It took a lot of time to like keep everything under control in the front yard and in the backyard. And I remember thinking to myself, if I had just outsourced this earlier in the process, it would have been so much simpler because not only did it save me time when I was literally doing it, but then it could save my husband, Steve, some time because he then can help me with the baby and I can go do some other things. So even if it's on your spouse's plate at home, consider it on the chopping block for outsourcing because then he can be more dedicated to supporting you, bonding with the baby, feeding the baby, doing whatever, he needs to, on the home front. Third thing in the same home care realm is the cleaning. I mean, listen, it's so challenging to give something like that up. It feels really intrusive. Transparently, I don't have a consistent cleaner that comes to our house as of this current moment, but I do have somebody that comes like once a quarter to do some of the bigger cleans. I even have somebody that comes once a quarter to clean out our car because we've got the 2 kids and Steve who goes to the farm all the time. And it's just so much. Sometimes for me to be like, okay, I'm going to shampoo these carpets. It's just not worth it. So thinking through home care and just creating clean environments, for me personally, and for a lot of moms I know, there is nothing more stressful than walking into an environment that is cluttered and messy. And that can be in our home, that can be in our office, that can be in our car, going back and forth and doctor's appointments and any other things that we need to do. So consider that as part of your maternity leave plan, we are going to add budget, add headspace, and start to build habits around some of these key things that we need to be outsourcing and support we need to be generating inside of our business and inside of our home life, because they are going to be absolutely instrumental. Now, you don't need to do every single thing I mentioned in this video, but it's going to be really, really helpful for you to just identify 1 to 2 really, really key things that you want to get support with over the maternity leave period. Something I will leave you with is that I am a huge fan of constantly reassessing our schedule, our plate, our everything, right? Our involvement. And so if you start outsourcing something, or if you think it's not going to be important to outsource, be okay with the fact that that can change, right? In the beginning, I was like, no, meals aren't important. I've got a couple days worth of meals and then we'll be fine. What I did on day 3 was totally reassess. I was like, okay, we need to make more meals. And Steve, we need to have you be in charge of that because I'm feeding a baby every 2 hours. And it was very, very helpful to just have that mindset of, okay, this is what it's like today, but this can change. And we can invite new possibilities into how we outsource, who we might need support from. If we're mowing the lawn now, we might not need to mow it forever, if we're going to outsource it down the line, or if we outsource this for 3 months and then all of a sudden our time frees up because baby's great, then we can have, dad take it back over. So hope this was helpful. And I hope you've thought through a handful of things that you can do to really de-stress your maternity leave. If you are an expecting, business owning mom, I'm so excited to say that we have a ton of resources over at mastermaternityleave.com. If you want my ultimate planning guide for self-employed maternity leave, go to mastermaternityleave.com and grab that. I also have a masterclass for my business owning moms who may be in the thick of maternity leave or maybe in the thick of growing a business and growing a baby, called Your Business After Baby Masterclass. I personally love it because being intentional about how you grow your business and grow your family is something that is super near and dear to my heart. And I'm honored to be able to support anyone with that. Take care.